Hey guys, my name is Jeff Smith. I'm the Digital Media Coordinator here at CFBISD, and we're back at it again with a special edition of the CFB Check-in featuring the Secondary Teacher of the Year, Kevin Guillot. Mr. Guillot, we appreciate you taking time to hop on with us. Let's go ahead and get started with the first question. How excited were you when you heard Dr. Chapman call out your name as the winner of the Secondary Teacher of the Year?
So I suspect, Jeff, I was like all of the nominees. I was sitting on the edge of my seat with my fingers crossed, hoping for the best. And when I heard that name announced and I saw my picture come across the screen, that hope pretty much turned to disbelief. Literally had to pinch myself. And then came all of the phone calls and emails and text messages. And with all of those came a lot of tears. So it was a very good night, and quite honestly, I'm still riding on cloud 9 today. So
it's always reassuring to hear that you're appreciated within the district. When we last spoke, you mentioned that you had the possibility of becoming the first teacher in CFBISD to achieve recognition at all three levels, elementary, middle, and high. Now that you've done so, what does that mean to you?
Well, as I said in my interview, I don't know that with certainty, but I think it is a possibility. I've been in this district for 23 years. I've taught at all three grade levels. I taught at the elementary level for 14 years, ironically at Sheffield Intermediate. I taught at the middle school level, which was Ted Polk Middle School, for 6 years. And now I'm just wrapping up my service at the high school, which would be 3 years. And at all three of those levels, I've received recognition. For the first two, it was District VIP, which is what it used to be. And now, of course, it's Teacher of the Year. So getting that Campus Teacher of the Year was really exciting, but getting winning the Teacher of the Year for the district was just unbelievable. It was really just, for me, a validation of my dedication and service to CFB. And for that, I'm truly grateful.
And I can assure you that CFB is grateful to have you as well. If our schools were still open in the traditional way, what would your first day back have been like? How would your students have reacted to the awesome news?
Well, I think based on their current reactions from messaging and everything else, I'm pretty confident there would have been a celebration. There would have been a lot of sincere congratulations, handshakes, high fives, hugs, but that would have come to an end pretty quickly. At ECHS, we are all under the belief that every minute counts. So it would have been, okay, guys, thanks. This is not going to be a free day. Let's get back to work.
As would be expected, celebrations are great, but let's stay focused, guys. Speaking of focus, it took a lot of focus from the board members with an all-star ballot on hand. What are some of the things you did this school year that you believe made you stand out among the outstanding teachers in this district?
Well, first of all, I'm fully aware that I was in the best of company. I can't say with certainty what made me stand out, but I hope that it was my dedication and my passion. At ECHS, I currently teach three different grade levels, sophomores, juniors, and seniors. And with that comes 7 classes. In addition, I sponsor and co-sponsor 5 different organizations, which promote leadership, philanthropy, and service. That keeps me extremely busy. And at the district level, I'm a very proud CFB ambassador, have been for the last 3 years. And currently I'm a member of the new district equity team. So I'm a very busy man.
I love hearing how invested you are in CFB. Having been in this district for over 20 years, what advice might you offer to new or relatively new teachers?
Well, they say with age comes wisdom, right? So I think my advice is threefold. Number one, it would be to follow your heart. These teachers, like all of us, got into this profession because we love children and we want to make a difference. So I would say do both really well. My second piece of advice is, I think, the most important. It is to build rapport with your students every single day, or as we avid teachers know, relational capacity. I've always believed that as a teacher, we cannot demand respect from our students. We must command respect. There's a huge difference. And we have to model that on a daily basis. Thirdly, as a history teacher, I have to steal some words of wisdom from one of my heroes, Benjamin Franklin. Elder Franklin once said that, "Tell me and I forget, teach me and I may remember, involve me and I learn." And I think as modern educators, our job is no longer to teach, but rather to engage, facilitate, and inspire. So that would be my words of advice.
That's solid advice from CFB's finest, folks. One thing I've noticed is during your interview, you had an oversized Snoopy sitting beside you, just as you do today. Why is that?
You know, that is funny. He was in my interview, and we didn't talk about it because it wasn't really relevant. But what I didn't share was that I am a huge Peanuts collector. When I started teaching 23 years ago and got my first job at Sheffield Intermediate, my classroom needed a theme. So I chose the Peanuts gang. I believed it was appropriate. I had always loved Charlie Brown and all the characters, but that group represents a very diverse group of children. And I think that's pretty symbolic of our students in CFB. So what started off as a very small collection has grown to over 3,000 pieces. And the vast majority of those pieces were given to me by the students that I've taught over the years. Some very special pieces are currently at ECHS. So when students think of Mr. Guillot, they can't help but also think of Snoopy. So they go hand in hand. So here he sits.
We can all appreciate the Peanuts. Just as you appreciate the Peanuts, I'm sure there are several people who appreciate you. Is there someone that you'd care to thank for their support over the years?
So Jeff, I don't want this to sound like an Oscar acceptance speech, but yes, I am fully aware that this is a shared honor. 23 years allows you to meet and work with and come to love many, many people. I have had numerous administrators, colleagues, parents, students. I would want to thank all of them. Obviously, I'd want to thank God, my family, and my friends. It is indeed a shared honor.
Well, we appreciate you taking time to join us here on a special edition of the CFB Check-in and hope to have you on again sometime in the near future. Thanks for sticking around for the bonus section of this CFB Check-in. We're now joined by Early College High School Principal Timothy Isley. Timothy, thanks for joining us.
Thank you. This is a great opportunity to talk about a fantastic teacher, so I appreciate it.
No, always good. And as you had mentioned, we're talking about a fantastic teacher. How excited were you when you heard Dr. Chapman call out Kevin Guillot's name as the winner of the Secondary Teacher of the Year?
I think there was a lot of excitement prior to it, knowing that the other schools who had selected their Teacher of the Year had some great teachers, great personnel from our district that were in that pocket of excellence. And I was there last year when we did this celebration in a hotel banquet type of thing, and I was very proud of Miss Wegscheider and her family for being there, and the ultimate selection of Temple Gonzalez. So I recognize that there are other great teacher leaders and educators in this group, and for Kevin, that is a often expressed feeling I have for him, and the professionalism and the global mindset that he has for educating kids. So I don't know, it was an attaboy, it was a yes, or it was something like that when he got called out. We were very excited here at home when we were watching it. And then the flurry of emails and text messages that went out to all people associated with Kevin, including himself, was pretty fun. Lots of great comments, a lot of, well, you know, it's all because of us, Kevin, not just you, pal. So there was a lot of celebration and affirmation for the kinds of teachers that we have at Early College High School and other campuses. But it was really uniquely remarkable for us because we've had a great year, and this just was an affirmation of how collaborative and visionary our staff, as well as Kevin Guillot himself, can be.
Absolutely. And you mentioned the other teachers in the field for this award. But what were some of the things that Mr. Guillot did to set himself apart from the other outstanding teachers in this district?
Well, first and foremost, he collaborated with his peers on a regular basis, cross-curricular, not just through social studies, but through an attachment with the English 2, creating some type of a global mindset between what the content was in English and how it matched up with world history and even U.S. history. So that brings his content alive. It helps kids make connections, not just in isolation from one content to another. So the expectation that students are held to is not just within the four walls of his room, which, by the way, is decorated with the most Snoopy paraphernalia I've ever seen in my whole life. But nonetheless, it allows for kids to make connections curricularly with other courses. And then he turns around and has productions and projects and interactive think time that brings out critical thinking as it's expressed through reading and as expressed through writing. That's the in-class stuff. It's his generosity and his out-of-class global mindset that really keep kids engaged. We don't have an athletic program or maybe necessarily a full fine arts department, but we do have a very active Junior World Affairs Council, which received another accolade just this past week. It's one of the top 10 in the North Texas area for engagement. And he heads that, or he's the sponsor for that. So he gets kids out into different restaurants every 6 weeks to try baklava, to pasta primavera, to just different cultured restaurant experiences, and kids go with them. There are field trips to different movies, to the Federal Reserve Bank, that bring alive some of his content too. And then he sees or gets to speak with FBI agents or members of the Environmental Protection Agency, or even a civil rights activist, and kids go with him on those trips. So that's just part of the curricular part. He's also a very kind person, and he's created a Be Kind Club. For example, every kid got chocolate chip cookies or a piece of gum during a special time of the year. Chew on kindness or something to that effect, where those were the featured remarks, and he gets the campus involved in helping them meet our core value of respecting one another, whether it's adult or teacher, or adult or student. So it's beyond the classroom that he excels, and that's part of the criteria that the committee was looking for. He's well-traveled, he's well-read, and that global mindset pervades not only his instructional set, but also lands itself into the out-of-school experiences for our kids. So that's why I thought he was the best fit for that particular award this year.
Well, that definitely is a plethora of opportunities in the classroom, outside the classroom, and even lessons that I feel will stay with the students as they move on through life. Definitely a lot to set him apart. We've talked about how excited you were when you heard the news. We talked about what it was that set him apart. But what does it mean to have Early College High School be the home of the 2020 CFBISD Secondary Teacher of the Year?
Well, I think first and foremost, it sets the standard for academic excellence, for a drive for continuous improvement on our teaching pedagogy and the expectations we have for student learning. He was a collaborator with our instructional problem of practice, which was revolved around literacy and speaking, listening, reading, and writing, and expressions of our of critical thought through those modalities. He's also a strong advocate for AVID and bringing in the writing, inquiry, collaboration, organization, and reading components, or the Wicker components to AVID. So to have that be recognized through this award is a way for us as faculty to emulate, is to strive for. And you know, that standard is the standard. That's a standard of excellence. And so we'll use that collectively on our campus to drive you know, teacher preparation and student engagement. So it's a big celebration, and it's a standard that we'll try and live up to with each and every member of the staff.
Definitely a privilege and honor to have the secondary teacher of the year at your campus. Wow, what a great honor that is for your campus and your staff. Well, Mr. Isley, we appreciate you hopping on the CFB Check-in, and you know, we hope to have you on again here soon.
All right, thank you very much, Mr. Smith.
When I think about this year and the teachers of the year, both elementary and secondary, and to know that my administrative career at Sheffield started with Mr. Kevin Guillot and went about halfway, and I ended with Miss Dina White, it just doesn't get any sweeter than that. And when I think about Together We Can, those are two teachers that exemplify Together We Can. Mr. Guillot, his classroom for history comes alive. If you walk in his room, first thing you notice is Snoopy. It's all Snoopy, every bit of it. All of his travels for children to learn about the world, those are all modeled in his classroom through pictures. His curriculum that he puts together and his knowledge of history is just amazing. And any child, any student, any high school student is so fortunate to learn from Mr. Guillot. He just is, he's one of a kind. I mean, so when I think about exemplary teachers, he is also top of he's just tops. I mean, he is awesome. So he has a very dear place in my heart.